Hello and welcome to another episode of This Week in the SFFL from Lino Lakes, Minnesota. I'm the commish, and as always I'm joined from Brownwood, Texas by my co-host with his 3 luxury sleds in the driveway, Mr. Mike Paddock.
So sit back, relax, and grab yourself a cold one. It's your home of all things SFFL and fantasy football. It's TWITS, and it starts right now.
Tonight's episode of TWITS is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
It's back here. Mike's got to be ready to rock and roll. All right. Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the Week 16 edition of TWITS, the final, Mike, can you believe it, final regular season edition of TWITS for 2012.
It's been quite the season. I hope we do a little recap or something. That'd be pretty cool if we could look back maybe today. That'd be a nice thing to do for the folks.
Sure. What's past is prelude, Mike. So what we'll do today, Mike, in our last regular season episode here, we'll go over the playoff scenarios as they've changed from last week. And then we'll also take a look at the home version, Mike, of the Skeptic or Believer game. We're going to go through this year's draft. All right, Mike, well, let's take a look at kind of the news and notes segment here. We'll take a look at the playoff scenarios updated from last week. So kind of what's it saying now? What we're talking about here is we know there's a 5th place team that's going to make the playoffs based upon points, and kind of leaving that separate. That'll kind of shake itself out. So this is just talking about winning one of the division crowns or wild cards. Mike the commish has clinched a wild card spot as of this week, and can win the division with a win or a loss by Bill in Week 16. Bill, with the win, will clinch a wild card berth. So that's scenario 2. Same for Thad. Thad can clinch a wild card berth with a win. Let's see. Thad can also clinch the division with a win and a loss by you, Mike. That would give him the division title.
Boo.
And then, like I said, based upon the wild card and division champs, Greg, Wayne, Tim, and Tom have been eliminated based upon the fact that Mike, you, and Evan square off in Week 16, and both of you have 8-7 records. So, assuming no tie, well, I think even if a tie would eliminate you, but assuming that we're in an era of non-ties, one of you is going to 9-7, obviously. So, those are the playoff scenarios heading into Week 16's action. Mike, well, I figure we'll just kind of alternate leading off on the rounds here. I'll give you the floor for round 1 in our first annual draft recap.
Well, Sondo, in round 1, I was picking right behind Evan, and I was kind of debating on what I was going to do there because I did not expect him to go with this pick, but he ended up picking Adrian Peterson. Little did I know he'd pick almost every Vikings on the roster after that, but AP is coming off an injury, and he is currently the number 2 SFFL running back this year, so I give him the nod in the first round.
Yeah, I think this one's open and shut. I think everyone was a little, potentially a little surprised that AP went this early, but obviously Evan was in tune with the inner workings of the Vikings organization and had some inside info there. Yeah, I think without a doubt that was definitely the pick of round 1. For round 2, Mike, it was a bit of a hit and miss round, I think, looking back, and so I actually went with Michael Turner as my pick of the second round. It was the last pick of the round by Greg. He's currently, depending upon which chart you're looking at, He's right around number 11. I have him as the number 11 back in the SFFL. That's about what you get out of there, but there were some other picks that just didn't hit, and I thought that was probably the best value of round 2.
I actually took a different one here. Tim came through with Jimmy Graham as the third tight end taken. Your Rob Gronkowski pick probably would have been the one I would have chosen here, but he's been hurt for he's been out for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Plus, he was out earlier in the season. So I'm going to go with Jimmy Graham, the number 2 tight end in the SFFL, and the third tight end pick. So that was a good job by Tim.
Okay. Why don't you take round 3? You take the odds.
Yeah, this one has to go to you. I don't know why I muffed this one, but we're coming around the corner. I'm looking for running backs, and for some reason, again, I picked Steven Jackson. Why? I don't know. A couple picks later, boom, Marshawn Lynch, the 4th overall running back this year, just a monster up there in Seattle. I think I was a little bit afraid. I didn't know what was going to happen with the quarterback situation, but Marshawn Lynch goes to Sonderman in round 3.
Yeah, I went actually with the 23rd overall pick in this one. I went with Brandon Marshall. Currently your number 1 wide receiver in the SFFL. Obviously, to get the number 1 receiver in round 3 is pretty good value. So I thought that was a really good pick. And then honorable mention there to Greg getting A.J. Green, the number 2 wide receiver. Just before that at pick 21. All right, round number 4. I went with Tim and his pick of Trent Richardson in the 37 spot. He's currently the number 5 overall running back. I know Tim and I differed a little bit. I was lower on Richardson, but he has been a goal line phenom, and that's what you want in this league. So I went with Tim's pick of Trent Richardson.
And we have another concurrence here. Yeah, I saw Richardson. He was a rookie. Didn't know what was going to happen, especially being on that team.
Yeah.
You know, Cleveland. What are they going to do? So yeah, that was a great pick by Tim. I concur on that one. Which leaves us.
I was more worried about. You bring up a good point. I was more worried about Brandon Weeden or whoever was going to be the quarterback, and what Mr. Richardson might be seeing in terms of defensive fronts rather than
11 in the box.
Yeah, exactly.
Brings us round 5, and I'm actually going back. We can't pick ourselves, so I'm going back with another Evan pick. He picked Blair Walsh, another Viking again, who was the 7th. He was the 7th overall place kicker. Little early for a place kicker for my taste, but to get the number 7 there, I did not even have Blair Walsh in my sights, so that was a nice job by Evan.
Yeah, he was my honorable mention in this one. I chose Thad and his pick of Des Bryant. He's currently the number 3 overall wide receiver in Shuffle points. But yeah, I definitely had special mention, especially of late. Blair Walsh has been nailing everything. We'll get to him a little bit later in record setters too, Mike. So. All right, round 6. I struggled a little bit on this one, but I ended up going with Mickey and her pick of Vincent Jackson in the 59 spot, currently the number 5 wide receiver in the SFFL. Tailed off a little bit as of late, but put up big numbers pretty much the whole year.
Yeah, I actually went with another rookie, Doug Martin, running back, 3rd overall in the league. Was another one of those things. It's like, okay, here's a rookie coming out. Don't know where you're gonna put him on your board. And Tom picked him at the 51st pick, and boom, he's just skyrocketed after that.
Yep.
And then
all right, on to round 7 for you.
Yeah, round 7. I went with another running back. Greg starts off round 7 with Stephen Ridley, or Stevan, however you pronounce that. And that's another guy I was kind of leery about, because when you got the Patriots, they just, I've had Patriots backs in the past, and they don't give them the ball enough. But Stevan Ridley is number 8 overall in the league currently. And that was a nice pick there. Honorable mention went to Eric Decker by Wayne.
Yeah, we had him reversed there. I had honorable mention to Ridley, and I went with Eric Decker, currently the number 10 wide receiver, 6 picks after Greg. So both of those definitely the standouts in that round. Round 8, I chose Tim and his selection of Peyton Manning, currently the number 6 quarterback in the SFFL. I thought that was extremely good value. Roethlisberger went before him, and obviously there was a run of quarterbacks early, so I thought at 77 that was very good value for Mr. Boncher.
I came away with the same thing. Yeah, you got Peyton Manning. No one really knew what was going to happen with him with his neck.
Yep.
And he returned to form early, kind of had a couple of faltering games, but then he's right back at it. So, yeah, Peyton Manning, definitely.
Okay.
Into round 9, which is the first keeper round, I believe, right?
First keeper round, correct.
So I will skip Matthew Stafford as a keeper. That was going to be my pick there. And I can't pick myself, otherwise I definitely would there. But I'm going to go with Thad getting Sebastian Janikowski with the 88th pick. I did not see I think there's about 4 or 5 place kickers off the board at that time. Janikowski's almost always money.
Yep. Yeah, obviously a no-brainer for me, RG3. Number 1 quarterback in the SFFL, so that's pretty much open and shut there in round 9 for you. Nice work. Round 10, I went with Mickey and her selection of Reggie Bush at running back. Reggie is currently the number 17 running back in terms of SFFL points. Honorable mention, Mike, to you with your selection of Reggie Wayne. It was pretty nip and tuck there, but took the top 20 running back pick at about pick 100 there. Took the cake for me.
Yeah, same on this end. Reggie Bush, again, in a system you don't know what's going to happen. A rookie quarterback. Reggie hasn't done much in the league, and here he comes out, and he's top 10, so it was a nice pick.
Yep.
Round 11.
Round 11.
I'm going to, a lot of defenses going in this round, and I'm going to go with one of them. The first one off the board by Greg, Chicago defense. I thought they were getting old, but here they are, number 2 in the league. They actually basically won almost all the games for the Chicago Bears, and that translated into fantasy points up until late. So that's who I'm going with, Chicago defense by Greg.
All right. I went at the other end of the round, Mike. I took Tom and his pick of Randall Cobb. Got a top 12 wide receiver at pick 110, and to me that bumped it a little bit above Chicago, but certainly Chicago had a nice 3-game run there where they were scoring double touchdowns. So certainly a worthy nominee. Round 12, Mike, I took Bill. Pick 118 in his selection of C.J. Spiller, a top 10 running back, in part due to Brett Jackson's 3 different injuries this year, but certainly to grab a top 10 back at pick 118 is outstanding.
Yeah, I agree with that pick too. Someone forgot to handcuff that back with their starter.
Yeah.
But definitely, I mean, right off the bat, C.J. Spiller, I think he put up 3 touchdowns and 100 and some yards, so nice pick by Bill. And I should have reviewed this. I just kind of went through and picked them all. I should have reviewed this before, but here I come back in round 13 with Greg again right off the bat, picking the tight end. Tony Gonzalez has been around since the beginning of the league, and he's number 3 overall in the SFFL. Everyone thought he was pretty much done, so Greg gets 3rd highest scoring tight end in the league at the 121st pick. I thought that was a nice job.
Yeah, you got a man crush on him, but I'll crush with you. Yeah, Gonzalez at that spot. Certainly, the rest of the round was pretty nondescript. So yeah, I think that definitely stands out as the pick of that round. Week 14, round 14. Mike, I went with you and your pick of a Mikel LeSure, currently the number 15 back Anytime you're getting top 20 value in round 14, that's the way to go. So, yeah, I went with you and Mr. LaSure.
And I'm going to go with you and your defensive Seattle defense pick. I think you dropped them since then, but they are 9th overall in the league, and they were scoring pretty well. Actually, I think they had a top score a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
So they've been fairly consistent. So I went with that pick, even though you don't still have them on the roster.
No, they were pretty consistent for the first 10 weeks before they had their Week 11 bye. They had one defensive touchdown on the whole first 10 weeks. So.
So you made most of that now?
Yeah, it's happened. It happened pretty recently. I mean, they were pretty good on sacks and stuff, but yeah, no, it's. They certainly had that. Well, they had that one big game against Arizona. I think they had like 20 points. So, round 15, Mike. That's your round. What you got for us there?
I have what's it called, Mr. The last pick of the draft.
Oh yes, Mr. Relevant.
Mr. Relevant, yeah, Mr. Relevant. Tom coming with Matt Bryant as a place kicker, who is currently 3rd in the league. So getting that with the last pick, that's pretty darn good. So Matt Bryant goes to Tom with the last pick.
Yeah, I went, and certainly that could be. I think our choices are pretty limited here. I think probably 6 of these picks are keepers.
Yeah, a lot of them.
So I think the only ones really that weren't were maybe Daniel Thomas, Mendenhall, Prater, and Bryant. I just went away from the kickers and just went Daniel Thomas kind of as a throwaway. He had a bit of a run mid-season where he was actually scoring some touchdowns, but...
Plus it's your wife's pick.
Yes, that's true. But yeah, can't argue with Matt Bryant as the last pick either, so... All right, so there's our list, Mike. That's it. Calling it.
Nice work, people.
Yeah, so you can, like I said, go out there and compare your picks and see how we did. Stuff. All right, Mike, record setters for this week. We had one, and it was Evans. Most place kicking points, I believe, moves into a tie. With 21 points out of his kicker. That's good for a tie for number 1. I know we had a Chris Boignol, former Dallas kicker, had 21. I can't remember. I have to go out and take a look in the record book. But, yeah, I think this is the first time we've had kicker get 21, and it wasn't on 7 field goals. I think Blair Walsh, if I remember, he had 5 field goals, but 3 of them were from 50, which gave him 3 more points, and then he had 3 extra points. So for the Juggernaut Vikings offense. So that was record setters. Premium password, last one of the year. Currently week 16, Mike. It's Bounty. And starting next weekend, throughout the duration of this season, it will be Cooper. As in Alice Cooper, Mike. Do you know why?
Milwaukee.
Because it's this will complete our 18th regular season coming up here.
Ah.
We're 18 and we like it, Mike.
Yes, we do. Nice work.
Yeah. Not just a hat rack. All right, let's move on to the segment. Used to be everyone's tertiary favorite segment until about a month ago when it just went completely off the rails. A little segment we may have back next year, we may not, called Chalk Talk. I was cruising along, but now I'm actually 1 game under 500, Mike. New England try to come back in the game that's on the TV behind me right now against San Francisco, but couldn't do it. Certainly couldn't cover the 5, so that moves the commish to 6-7. So to get back this even ground here, Mike, we are going to take the Falcons this week. The Atlanta Falcons are 4-point favorites at Detroit. And I know the NFL is a fickle mistress, Mike, but I don't know if you could find two teams more diametrically opposed than what happened in Arizona last week with Detroit and what happened in Atlanta with the Giants. So if Atlanta can't beat this team by 4, then I don't know what to do anymore. So I'm going to take the Falcons in what I'm sure now is a trap game, but I'll take the Falcons lay the 4 points, and we'll get you back your money for 2012 on this one. So
hopefully they're not resting all their starters because they won the first seed.
Have they won the first seed?
I don't know. I just said hopefully they're not resting their starters.
Well, I don't think they have. I think with the San Francisco win, I think they're only a half. I think San Fran's only a half game behind. So, but that's neither here nor there. Mike, let's take a look at Dog of the Week. Dog of the Week also on a little bit of a late season tail off. Last week we had you had the Bears +3. But the Packers ended up winning that one by 8, I believe, 21-13. Still a very respectable 9-4 on the year, though. So, what do you got for the regular season closeout?
Yeah, if you stopped watching this show after about week 10 when I was 9-1, and I know you have, looking at the stats, you're good to go. But yeah, I've been on a little mini slide myself. And even my call to Coach McCarthy to run a trick punt play to put the Bears back in it so I could win it didn't quite work out because the Bears are real bad. So we're looking for a bounce back here as well. And the odds makers, I don't know if this is a trap game either, but the odds makers are putting Dallas as a 3-point favorite. New Orleans, coming to town here in the Jerry Jones Palace. It's on turf. I mean, you can't give New Orleans 3 points on turf. Come on. So this should be an easy win for New Orleans, and take the points, and let's get back on top. That's your Dog of the Week.
All right. All right, Mike. Well, the final segment, final game, final everything here for the regular season. We made it through Tennessee and the Jets somehow. Everyone survived that. So, game of the week, Mike, this week is going to look at what figures to be a much more compelling matchup. San Francisco and Seattle, we both had Tennessee last week, so 6-6 is my mark. 7-5 is your mark on the year. So who do you like in the old big matchup out there in Puget Sound?
Hey, you said everyone survived the Tennessee Jets game, but I heard that the starting quarterback's not going to be Sanchez or Tebow, so I think their starting quarterback didn't survive that one.
Yeah, Mark Sanchez did not survive. There was one victim of that I forgot about. So, yes, Greg McElroy, your new Jet starter. So
nice.
Adjust your lineups accordingly.
Yeah, you'll have a chance to make up some ground on me here because I am going to go with San Francisco. I think Seattle is blowing their wad over the last couple of weeks. I believe it was the most points scored in victories, or what we call a margin of victory, since like 1941 in consecutive games. They put up 50 points the last 2 weeks, but they're not going to do that against San Francisco. Look for that defense to harass Russell Wilson, keep him under wraps, and shut down that running game. So put Seattle back to where they were at the beginning of the year, scoring about 14, 17 points. So I'm going with San Fran.
Not so fast, my friend. Tell you what, I do agree. Well, I don't agree. It's not really for me to agree. But yeah, there was some stat I heard. It was the first time since 1960 something that a team anyway had scored back-to-back weeks with 50 points, which I thought was surprising, given the era of football that we live in addition to the stat you brought up. So yeah, Seattle's been on a roll. But I love Seattle at home. Pete Carroll seems to get luckier than you-know-what there, as we can attest to. San Fran coming off a bit of a short week, having to travel to New England and then back home and then up to Seattle. I like the Quest Field and the 12th man, Mike, so I'm going to go Seabags to get us even on the year. Otherwise, you will take the Game of the Week crown for the second year in a row, so we can't have that.
Well, I have to win something. Last week I couldn't pick anything. I couldn't pick the quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end to start. Otherwise, I might have won my matchup against Tim.
Those are important factors, yes, in fantasy victory. So, all right, Mike. Well, that will wrap up Week 16 and the regular season. So, if you'd like to see this or any of the, what I believe, 14 episodes that we've had out there so far this year, you can head on over to vh1classic.com or just type in the keyword TWITS on YouTube, and that'll bring you where you need to be. So, all right, Mike. Well, for my co-host, Mike Paddock, we'll see you back here, Mike. We'll probably look at having a season recap show, regular season recap show with all the records that were set this year, and a kind of a deeper dive into the statistical year that was. We'll probably have that first week of the playoffs and maybe a quick playoff preview, too. So, we will look forward to seeing everyone back here in about 2 weeks.
Adios.